As reported by the Daily Nation, the government is exposed to fiscal a risk of 2.75 trillion Kenyan shillings should state-owned enterprises, or I should say parastatals, default on commercial and multilateral lenders' loans advanced to them for the purpose of financing their activities. Well, could this also point to the direction that the government could soon be going towards the perilous journey of financial distress it has been on not once, not twice, but so many times before? That forms the basis of our conversation today on this particular edition of Business Glide, the only show that touches on matters business and economics and public policy at large. You definitely don't want to miss this edition and subsequent ones coming every week, at least twice. My name is Richard Mwanjem, your resident host and producer. And with me is none other than renowned political analyst and public scholar in Eastern and Central Africa, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Straight into the day's conversation, sir.
Yes.
The National Treasury Principal Secretary, that is Chris Kipto, has come forward and said that the 263 parastatals that are in Kenya, he actually says about 70% of them are struggling financially. And looking forward, they're relying on state bailouts for them to run their activities. And the commercial side of it, and also the normal operations they are in. What do you make of this? The first reaction when you hear the National Treasury PS saying we are still dealing with the cash crunch among the parastatals, and bailouts are the potential outlet to solve this problem.
You know, parastatals are basically fall in two categories. Mm-hmm. Those that are expected to make money and those that provide public good without necessarily making money.
He says it's cut across both of them.
So then the interventions and the explanations of the problems may be general to both, but there must be those that are specific. If you isolate the ones which are supposed to make money, then they should make money. Because there are again people who think government should get out of business and create environment for the business people, the private sector. But there are those like me who believe it is possible for government to make money. Indeed, why is China as powerful as it is? You know, sometimes we need to be looking at what's going on.
I see.
China is powerful because the government has money. They spend about 30, 40 years just making money and saving. And now they are terrorizing the whole world economically because they have the resources. So government should also make money. Where government does not want to make money, then it resorts to taxes as the only revenue.
Like what Kenya is trying to do.
What Kenya is doing. If I am the one running this country, I will match initially shilling for shilling. Taxes give me 1 shilling, the government makes 1 shilling from elsewhere in terms of business. Another shilling from the resources we have, which God has given us. So instead of 1 shilling, we have 3. And going forward, for every 1 shilling from tax, government business should create 10. Then I can relax a bit. So if a parastatal is supposed to make money and none of them can make money, do you need to go far to the reason is to find the reason?
Then again,
poor management. And nobody's put there to go and work. People are put there to facilitate theft. So that if you appointed the MD and you pretend you think you went to work, you'll be sacked. You went there to facilitate theft of public resources.
Can the government actually sit back and see theft happening even in key parastatals like the education sector,
but
the
if
public
they didn't
universities?
If the government wasn't sitting back and watch, would things like Kenya will be collapsing the way they are collapsing? Would all these state parastatals be having problems? Would all these universities be having financial problems? So it's true, the government sits, enjoys a cup of tea as state corporations collapse.
The very same money that they're actually getting in form of loans from commercial and multilateral lenders. And there is a likelihood that they are going to default on them, posing these risks to the government to facilitate and bail them out. Is there wiggle room for the government to look at getting the best loan facilities for its parastatals, other than these commercial that are very expensive? They are short-term but still expensive. Are we looking at a conduit of probably having long-term loans but which are very cheap and the parastatals can afford both profit-making and non-profit-making parastatals?
Yeah, parastatals get loans, many of them. In fact, at some point there was a big debate when government was asking to raise the ceiling for borrowing from, I think, this 7 to 9 billion.
Yeah, to 9 trillion.
And at that time, the Kenya Kwanza people, the Tanga people, were trying to say government had overborrowed. They were saying government had borrowed 11 trillion, and yet government had a portfolio of about 8 trillion.
Yeah.
Of course, there was an exaggeration on the other side. But the truth is, there are other unstated loans the government has, which it has guaranteed parastatals. Therefore, that what you are talking about is a reality. But it comes down to one thing.
Which is?
It's like bailouts. A parastatal is squandering money, stealing money, and every year it is being bailed out. You take 10 billion or so to Kenya Ways and people just squander the money. Then after a couple of years, government must bail out KQ. It is simple two things. One, management that we have put in place is awkward management. It cannot do anything. Secondly, it is government that sits down to watch. In fact, abets the corruption. That's where the problem is. We have to be honest with ourselves.
But then again, the Inspectorate of State Corporations and the State Corporations Advisory Committee, that is the SCAC,
Yes.
they have come forth to the media many times and they are saying they're executing their duties to the highest degree of military precision and transparency they are in. What then do you make of the results that we are getting out of this all? Corporations are running down by the day, forcing themselves to beg for bailouts they are in. What do you make of the efficiency of SCAC and Inspectorate of State Corporations?
First of all, what you need is to rationalize the existence of state corporations. Do you need all of them? Do you need to scrap some? Do you need to sell off some? Do you need to merge others? Do you need to refocus others? All this rationalization first must take place. But even after you have done that, in whose hands can you put a state corporation? So you better ask Manyora, if you become president, what would you do? And I've given my position very clearly. I'll just call you and tell you, you want to be vice chancellor of a university? Yes. You want to be principal of Lenana? Yes. You want to be MD of this state corporation? Yes.
Kenya Seed Company?
Kenya Seed Company, yes. I want you to supply free seed to all Kenyan farmers. Free maize seed. Without a shilling from government. How do you go? Go, don't answer, go away. Come back after 30 days. And we need to also build a pool of Kenyans who have misbehaved where they have worked. We must go digital on employment, on placement. We need a national employment bureau or a national placement center where everybody who gets a government job, his name comes from there. And once we give you a job and you mess, you will never ever get another job in this country until you die. Assuming you have stolen, we haven't arrested you. You could be lucky because lawyers are smart, they could help you, but you will never get a job. So, because anytime you apply for a government job, inalia kwa hiyo computer, red, bush, red, aliiba mahali alifanya, kwicha. You know, if you make me president of this country and come back after 5 years, you'll be surprised.
Mumia Sugar will be back?
Everything will be back. I mean, it depends on whether you need Mumia Sugar. You cannot revive sugar industry in Kenya. It's dead. Najua tena kuambiana ukweli inasaidia.
Aren't you a pessimist?
You can't revive sugar in Kenya, not now. In Mumias, for example, the acreage is gone. You don't have acreage to grow sugarcane. Because when we started, our farm had 10 acres, for example. He has since had children, so the land has been divided 5 times. Those 5 children have divided the land another 10 times. Where is the space for sugarcane? Secondly, the husbandry. What you produce on 10 acres of farming to get the sugarcane, the tonnage you get from 10 acres in Kabras, Mumias, in Madagascar, they produce from half an acre or 1 acre. Can you compete with them? Comesa, we have been keeping away sugar from Egypt and other Comesa countries because if they bring the sugar here, we'll close our factories.
So point is, look at which one need to be there, which one should be scrapped.
I learned this long time ago. It's what we call competitive advantage. You engage in activities over which you have competitive advantage.
Over the rest.
If we cannot compete in the production of sugar, with COMESA countries. We look at what we can provide in the same region, which nobody can provide like us, and involve the people of Mumias. Tukisema Waluya mnapenda kuku, we engage in serious kienyeji kuku farming,
poultry farming,
and then look for international market. That is better than cheating farmers they can do for sugarcane. It's like cheating boys here they can do the border.
It is hustlers economy.
Utapeleka mtoto wako Alliance.
Dynasty.
We are lying to the boys because this boy here, he will realize 14 years from now he has a kid very bright. I made to Alliance girls. He can't.
You say they were told dynasty empire.
Yeah, that is. The problem with us, we lie to our people. And because we lie to our people, we'll pay for it.
All right.
We have to tell farmers, you cannot do sugarcane.
But then again, looking at the future of these very owned, state-owned enterprises, what do you make of the recent acquittals of the bosses that were at one point in charge of these parastatals? We've seen the NHIF boss who was accused over a 1.1 billion tender flows therein, has been acquitted of the charges. Joe Sang has made his way back to, that is Kenya Pipeline Company, and so many other state corporation bosses that were at some point taken to court over management of funds. If we are looking at running these corporations to the best level of efficiency, do you think such people should make a return to those organizations, or just at the point of being mentioned at the court, should be an automatic ticket for your dismissal, whether found guilty or not?
The inspector in the Vioja Makaman recently died, I think.
Yeah.
God rest his soul, eternal peace. In the episodes of Vioja Makamani, ili iwe funzo kwa wengine,
wenye nia kama yako na
tandika huyu myitu miaka ya kutosha. I said a short while ago that I would create the National Employment Bureau, and all your names, anybody in Kenya, whoever wants a job, they will put their name to be there digitally. And every time you want a public job, we shall go and fish it from there. If it is reading red, you never get a job. What was I trying to say? You must send us a message and signal that you are serious. That if we give you a parastatal and you steal, not only will we jail you, you will never get another job in this country. And therefore, matters of perception are very important. I do not know whether those people are guilty or not. But I only wonder, how could the DPP take them for prosecution that far? And the same before we sack that DPP, he's the same one saying, there is no case.
Lack of sufficient evidence.
Why didn't you sack this Nuru Haji first? At least to give ourselves some face. So that another new person says, huyu Haji hakujua kazi. After all, he was not a very good lawyer. Then he acquits them. Wrong signal. Secondly, because we don't want people to play around with our parastatals and government jobs, we cannot have someone suspected of theft in the parastatal.
Tendering flows and all that.
Yes, then you bring him back. What message are you sending? Because perceptions are not about reality. The truth is this man may be innocent, but people will not know. Asema tu Ruto ameanza kurudisha watu yake, wale wezi. It's public perception. You can't do anything about it. So, to answer your question, we are sending the wrong signal. Sang may be a good man, I don't know him. But is it is Kenya, it's KP, what is it, Kenya Pipeline, whatever?
Yeah, Kenya Pipeline Company.
KPC.
Yeah.
Is it the only job we can be given in this world?
Can go to Kengen or whatever other place.
How do you remove somebody from somewhere on suspicion of theft? Have his case perhaps knocked off and return him
to the same particular corporation.
So you give him even another job elsewhere. Or tell him, bwana, jaribu biashara.
Or give him an ambassadorial seat.
Yeah, I mean, perceptions are important.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we wrap up this conversation today on Business Glide, touching matters the future of state-owned corporations. Many of them are likely to default on government-guaranteed loans from commercial and multilateral lenders. We wait to see if this time round the only solution will be going for the state bailouts, or they will create a space within themselves to be self-reliant and have enough pool of resources to meet these very same loans before they become a burden to the taxpayer. Until that point, allow me to delve straight into our Fan of the Week segment, and it is none other than Robert Gashungi in Burnt Forest area.
Gashungi from the famous Burnt Forest. Robert.
Burnt Forest, yeah.
Thank you, Robert, for being part of this big family.
All right.
Thank you very much, Robert.
I see. Make sure you get posted on the African Business Glide, African Proverb of the Day, that usually comes to your screen straight after my outro. It is, of course, one full of wise nuggets that will definitely help you become a better version of yourself. Until next time, my name is Richard Mwanjo. Always a pleasure.